But wait, because this McLaren is not just another fast convertible. This could be one of the final pure V8 supercars before the hybrid era takes over completely. 740 horsepower, roof down, rear-wheel drive, and 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. Sounds perfect, right? Not so fast. There's a rumored final edition coming that could make this car even more insane and even more impossible to get. So stay with me because this story gets wild. Before we continue, hit like, subscribe, and share this video. And comment below, what city are you watching from? In Valencia, just before sunrise, I met Adrian Cole, a luxury watch photographer who claimed he didn't care about speed anymore. He said, "I just want something beautiful." Then the garage door opened, and the 2027 McLaren 750S Spider rolled into the light. Low, sharp, and almost angry, it looked less like a car and more like a warning. Adrian went silent. I smiled and said, "You still don't care about speed?" He whispered, "I may have spoken too soon." The 750S Spider is a supercar with two personalities. On one side, it can attack a track like it has something to prove. On the other, it can cruise for hours with the calm confidence of a grand tour. That is the trick. It gives you drama without making every drive feel like punishment. Adrian walked around it slowly and said, "It looks fragile." I shook my head. No, it only looks delicate because every piece has a purpose. Behind the seats lives a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8. It sends 740 horsepower to the rear wheels through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The numbers sound violent, because they are. This Spider can sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 2.7 seconds. Adrian laughed nervously. That's not acceleration, that's teleportation. And honestly, he wasn't completely wrong. But the magic is not only power. The 750S Spider weighs roughly 3,200 pounds, which is light in a world where performance cars keep getting heavier. That low weight makes every movement feel immediate. Turn the wheel, and the car responds like it was already thinking about the corner before you were. It doesn't just go fast, it feels alive, alert, and wired directly into your hands. We pulled onto the open road, and the first surprise was comfort. At normal speeds, the suspension felt calm and controlled. Not soft like a luxury sedan, but not brutal either. Adrian looked over and said, "I expected it to punish me." I said, "That's the duality." The 750S Spider can feel relaxed when you are just driving. But beneath that calm surface, there is always a predator waiting for permission. Then the road began to twist. The McLaren changed character instantly. The steering sharpened, the chassis settled, the whole car seemed to shrink around us. Corners arrived fast, then disappeared even faster. Adrian gripped the door handle and said, "This should not feel this stable." That is the point. The 750S Spider does not fight physics. It negotiates with physics, then leaves before physics changes its mind. And yet, this car feels like the end of an era. The clock is ticking for this version of the 750S. Hybridization is coming for luxury supercars, and McLaren knows it. This may be one of the final pure expressions of the brand's twin-turbo V8 heart. Adrian stared at the engine cover and said, "So this is not just a car?" I nodded. It is a farewell letter, written in horsepower. There is also talk of a final edition called the 788HS. If it arrives as expected, it could revive McLaren's famous high sport name. The number would come from 788 PS, equal to about 777 horsepower. That is not just a small upgrade. That is McLaren turning the volume up before the music changes forever. A final scream before the electric age takes over. The rumored 788HS would not rely on power alone. It is expected to bring aerodynamic upgrades, including a roof scoop that feeds cooling air toward the engine. There may also be a larger rear wing, turning the car into something even more focused and aggressive. Adrian imagined it for a second and smiled. So the normal Spider is already wild, and the final one gets wings? I said, exactly. McLaren does not whisper goodbye. Exclusivity is part of the story too. The 788HS is reportedly limited to 200 coupes and 200 Spider convertibles. That kind of number changes everything. You are not just buying performance, you are buying a place in a very small room. A room filled with collectors, loyalists, and people who understand that some machines become legends because they arrive right before everything changes. Stop for a second, because this is where the story gets dangerous. The 750S Spider is already rare, already brutal, and already emotional. But if the rumored 788HS really becomes McLaren's final V8 celebration, then this isn't just a supercar anymore. It's a collector's countdown, a farewell machine, a last scream before hybrids take over. So don't blink, because the next chapters reveal why this McLaren might become legendary. Before we continue, hit like, subscribe, and share this video. And comment below, what city are you watching from? McLaren's future is not standing still. A new V8 hybrid model is expected to arrive in 2028, positioned between the entry-level Artura and the brand's flagship machines. That tells you exactly where the industry is going. More power, more electricity, more complexity, but also maybe less rawness. The 750S Spider matters because it still feels mechanical, emotional, and slightly dangerous in a way newer cars may never repeat. Of course, the McLaren does not exist alone. In this price world, every rival is terrifying. The Lamborghini Temerario brings a twin-turbo hybrid V8 with around 907 horsepower and all-wheel drive. The Ferrari 296 GTB uses a twin-turbo V6 with electric assistance for about 819 horsepower. Both are modern, hybrid, and brutally fast. The McLaren stands between them like the last old-school fighter, refusing to retire. The Ferrari can even travel up to about 15 miles on electricity alone. In some European cities, that matters. It lets the car move quietly through strict emission zones before unleashing chaos outside city limits. The Lamborghini takes a different path, using hybrid power to create monster numbers and all-wheel drive grip. Adrian listened, then pointed back at the McLaren. So why choose this? I answered, because numbers are not the whole story. The 750S Spider is about feeling. It is about the noise behind your head, the lightness in your hands, and the way the car seems to breathe with the road. It does not have all-wheel drive to save you from yourself. It does not hide behind silent electric smoothness. It asks you to pay attention. It rewards skill. And when you get it right, even for one clean corner, it feels unforgettable. If you want something more financially sane, there are alternatives. The Porsche 911 GT3 RS and Chevrolet Corvette Z06 cost far less in comparison, while still delivering serious performance. They live in the lower six-figure world, which sounds ridiculous until you compare them with supercars that cost as much as a house. Adrian laughed and said, "So the budget choice is still a dream car?" I said, "Exactly. That's how wild this category is." Customization is part of the McLaren experience. Every 750S Spider starts with the same core: the twin-turbo V8, the dual-clutch transmission, and rear-wheel drive. But from there, buyers can shape the personality. Coupe or retractable hardtop, wild paint or quiet elegance, carbon fiber details, special interior materials, comfort features, and personal touches everywhere. It is not just ordering a car, it is building a version of yourself with wheels. When the roof folds away, the whole experience changes. The engine note becomes closer, sharper, more personal. The wind enters the cabin, and suddenly every gear shift feels like a small explosion in open air. Adrian looked up at the sky and said, "This is irresponsible." I smiled. "Maybe." Then he added, "But it feels honest." That is the strange beauty of the 750S Spider. It is excessive, but it never feels fake. By the end of the drive, Adrian no longer cared about being practical. He cared about remembering the moment. The 2027 McLaren 750S Spider is not just fast, it is a bridge between two worlds: the raw V8 past and the hybrid future waiting ahead. If this really is one of the last laps for McLaren's pure twin-turbo heart, then it deserves to be heard, loudly, with the roof down and with no apology.